Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kevin Capel, Vice President of Investor Development and Engagement here at the Greenville Chamber. We host these community matter discussions every week to connect you with local, state, and national leaders. You can find our past recordings as well as the upcoming community matters schedule at www.greenvillechamber.org. All attendees should be on mute with cameras turned off. You can submit questions through the chat feature. We have a lot to talk about today, but we do want this to be an interactive discussion. So please place your questions in the chat feature. And let's kick things off this way. If you're a small business owner, go ahead and drop a link to your small business in the chat feature, or you can share a link to your favorite small business. We'd like to recognize them during this Community Matters presentation. Today, we're excited to have an in-depth discussion of ways to support our small businesses and our business community this busy holiday season, and especially how to support this upcoming Small Business Saturday. We will talk about why it matters and how to get involved. And we're joined by three individuals to guide us through this exciting conversation. They are Rance Bryan, relationship banker with the Bank of Travelers Rest and chair of the Downtown Merchant Association. Emelie Hegarty, with the marketing analyst with the City of Greenville Economic Development Department. And Rebecca Leach, the director of South Carolina Retail Association. Welcome, everyone. Let me preface by saying that while much of this conversation will center around downtown and the city, this discussion applies to all small businesses in our area and beyond. The main takeaway is simply to shop local, whatever that means to you. So let's frame the conversation on why it matters. Why does shopping small, local matter to you and the businesses that you serve? And Emelie, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah, so, and I think if we could advance to the next slide, I've got some items that I want to talk about a little bit, but of course I represent the city of Greenville, but Greenville is much larger than that, and it's not just downtown, but I think a lot of us do think about the downtown area. So I will be talking a little bit about that, but know that it's more than that. And so this is a logo of the Shop Gville campaign that the city of Greenville has kicked off. And you'll be seeing this sort of around in various entities, but especially with Gville Today, who's been a good partner in sort of promoting this Shop Local campaign and why do we shop local? And this is why we're here today. So advancing to the next slide, you'll see everybody loves an old photo of Greenville. This is Main Street. This is what it used to look like. And it took initiative and it took leadership to really create the downtown that we have today. So you'll notice there are no trees and it just looks dramatically different. And so we could still have this Main Street, but a lot of effort and time was put into placemaking to make our downtown the wonderful atmosphere that it is, that's so inviting to have all of these shops. And so sometimes I imagine of what it could look like if we, didn't have that. What if Main Street, folks weren't supporting the businesses and the businesses couldn't sustain themselves and they closed? It would look dramatically different. And I think a lot of people enjoy going downtown to eat, to hang out, to participate in, the lights or the trees or whatever festivity seasonally is going on. And if you could advance to the next slide, just another shot a little bit later of what our downtown kind of, how it evolved and what it looked like. And so I think we're really fortunate to have the downtown that we have today. And it's up to us to kind of help keep that going. So if you don't advance to the next slide. So here's just an example that I pulled together of one store that's very recognizable downtown, and that's Mass General Store. Now, this is not your traditional locally owned shop per se. It's more of a regionally owned organization, but it still gives a good example of the difference between maybe your e-commerce or a different type of entity versus shopping local. And it's one that people are familiar with. So here are some examples. They pay a business license fee, they pay property taxes, and they have various employees. And so you have, I just made 2 examples, James and Emma. James goes and buys lunch at Snackworks on his break. Emma decides to give money to Pendleton Place. And then overall, Mass General decides to support local charities here within Greenville as well. And so I just find that this to be a good example of how the money tends to stay here in our community. It's employing people. The taxes are going to support everything within our area as well. And then the business license fee, because they're within the city limits, goes back to some, maybe creating employee positions at the city of Greenville to support Ice on Main, Fall for Greenville, and various entities like that. So that's kind of the lifeblood, I think, of what makes our area really unique and special. And so sometimes it's a store like this that kind of, among everything else, comes together to make a really great place to live. So next slide, please. Just a couple things to let you know about that we've done recently at the city is we've created 37 new 15-minute spaces downtown. And this is kind of a result of COVID and folks, wanting to have just a shorter amount of time where you can run into a store and do that curbside pickup. But this is new to our downtown area. So you'll see a lot of the spots have been switched over to 15-minute parking. And then of course in our garages, the first hour is always free in a city entity, garage or lot. And so that's a really great asset. So it's one way when you are going downtown, maybe you're doing an online order, but you're still picking it up in person. This allows you to maybe run in and not have to worry about parking. Next slide, please. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that during some of our holiday times this year, we've got free parking in all of our parking facilities. So that may be a lot and it may be a garage, but it's specifically a city-owned area. And that's November 26th and 27th, and then December 24th through 25th. Okay, so that kind of sums up some of the stuff. Ultimately, I think it's really that brick and mortar business that we have here. We just find that adds to our area. Kevin?
Thank you, Emily. Certainly wonderful information to hear, and we so appreciate all that you do in the city as well. Rebecca, let me take an opportunity to turn this over to you and kind of get your thoughts on why does shopping small and local matter to you and the businesses that you serve as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thanks for having us today. So again, the Retail Association, we represent a variety of retailers from small to one location to large to international organizations. But one thing they all have in common is they all impact the community that each has a location. And so ways that they impact the community, of course, some of the things Emily highlighted, but in addition, they obviously all employ our neighbors and our family. Every employee that works there is from that community, generally speaking. So obviously that's a big important factor for all of us. Other things they do, sponsor Little League teams or offer items for raffles for fundraisers for your local school band or different smaller organizations. And then one big way that we kind of don't think of when we think of retail, that retail really impacts our communities is during natural disasters or responses to natural disasters. Sometimes I guess Greenville area doesn't, you guys have snow and ice and some of those issues, but you don't necessarily deal with the hurricane issues as much like we see along the coast. But a lot of our retailers are there as soon as things are able to reopen, as soon as things are able to get going. They also are very key in bringing items into the community that are necessary to things like generators, water, food. Let's say you have a electrical issue and you need to replace some of your IT equipment because we're all working remotely now, we're all doing school from home. And so we don't necessarily think about that during natural disaster times of how important retail is for the community. So those are several ways in which our retail is supporting our community and they make a huge impact in our community. I'll hand it back over to you, Kevin.
Thanks, Rebecca. Rance, same question for you. How does shopping small and local matter to you and the business that you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. And Emily and Rebecca both made some terrific points. So I'll just kind of piggyback on what they said. Kind of only other additions I would make to that are, with your local businesses too, a lot of them have local supply chains. So that business or that product that they're putting out and selling, they've probably utilized other local businesses to help create that product and bring it to marketplace. So if you go in reverse, that local supply chain is extremely important. And then also they use local partners. They probably have local accountants and a local insurance agent or an attorney or hopefully a local banker, and utilize some good partnerships like that are local as well. Whereas, maybe some entities such as Amazon might not be able to do that quite as much. So again, that the reach of these local businesses really is tremendous and extremely impactful.
Great point. Yeah, it's certainly a trickle-down effect for these businesses as to what they do, but then all the interconnections that they have within the community that, customers that come in and shop with those local businesses, and then in turn where that local business will purchase their products and other services they have that are truly impactful, impacted by local businesses themselves. Let's shift gears for just a moment and then look towards safety. So top of mind for many is ensuring a safe experience during this holiday season, of course, and in shopping. And in a recent consumer tracking survey, I read that 61% of adults interviewed relayed that they felt safe going to the store to shop, which was up from 31% in a previous survey, I believe had taken place in April. So Rebecca, let me turn to you and ask, what are you seeing from a consumer perspective during this time?
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, we've been in this for quite a while now. And so we've I guess, had the opportunity, unfortunately, to learn how to deal with this and how to live with this and how to continue business while implementing measures to remain safe. So we're very appreciative to our customers that learned and grew with us as we figured this out and as we moved forward. So a couple things that we are doing as retailers to help protect customers is what you're kind of already seeing. Even though it's not necessarily required of our state to limit the occupancy in some of our locations, a lot of our retailers are doing that as a precaution for their folks to help protect not only their employees, but also their customers. So you'll see some limiting of occupancy. Wearing masks, of course, that's required in the city of Greenville, but it's not necessarily required everywhere. But a lot of our retailers are requiring it anyway. One of the measures they want to use to try to help protect their employees and customers and limit the spread. A lot of retailers are going to be sanitizing heavily touched or frequently touched areas, keypads at checkout, or different countertops and doors. You'll also see markers noting distances, safe distances. You should stand back from each other. So you'll see markers on the floor or signs posted to kind of alert you to what's a good safe distance and what's a good area to stand in. And then, as we mentioned earlier, offering curbside or delivery of product. That is something that was already becoming a big thing before the pandemic hit. We were moving in that direction, and this just put warp speed on it. And we all had to move to curbside pickup or delivery to keep business going. And so you'll see retailers offering curbside either through, going online and ordering it, or some of them, maybe our smaller businesses don't have that online capability. You could call ahead and place that order and pick it up. Or again, some are offering delivery. There are also a lot of employers are requiring well checks of their employees. So every day when they come to work, they're checking their temperature, they're assessing their just overall general health to make sure that they don't have any signs or symptoms. So that's what retailers are doing. So what can customers do to try to help with the same efforts? Very most important thing is be patient. Again, we've been in this for a while. We're figuring out how to do this. We've figured it out, but we just need everybody to pack their patience. like I said, limiting space, limiting occupancy is what a lot of folks are doing. And so you may have to wait a minute to go inside. So we do ask you to just please be patient. Be patient as other patrons figure out what they're trying to do, what they're trying to purchase. Just everybody pack their patience. And then we ask everyone to please wear a mask. Again, I know it's required in Greenville area, but in general, just if a retailer is asking you to do it, please just comply. Nobody wants to have confrontations. No one wants to get in arguments, especially around the holiday season. So please just comply with those requests. And then, of course, always wash your hands. Use sanitizer. A lot of retailers have sanitizer out for folks, so please feel free to use those. When you're in the store, like I said, packing your patience, but be mindful of keeping your distance from other patrons. Everybody has different comfort levels with this pandemic. So just please try to remain distant from everyone, just to ensure we all have that social distance that's required in order to prevent that spread. The other thing, as a result of maybe limited occupancy levels, maybe don't shop in such large groups. Maybe just bring one person or shop alone. So that way we can allow more patrons to come in, different shopping parties to come in and get their purchases without delaying other folks. And of course, if you have symptoms or think you may have been exposed, please don't come into the business. Use curbside pickup, use home delivery. And then of course, if you do use curbside, please also wear your mask as well. At the end of the day, let's all just be respectful of each other, be respectful of the shoppers, be respectful of the shop owners and the employees, and we'll all get through this together. Thank you.
Great points. Thank you, Rebecca. One thing, if I may, Rebecca, to follow up, you made a point is I know that there's a trend this year and have seen in recent articles that with so much that has changed for our small businesses this year, buying online and picking up in store seems to be really accelerating as customers see it as a faster than in-store shopping. About 34% of those that I read in the survey saw that as an avenue for them to take. And then they, with 32% of those feeling that it allowed for them to be safer as they're out shopping. What are some other trends that you've seen? Can you talk a little bit more in regard to that buy online, pick up in store that you see? Do you think that will impact those shopping on Black Friday or this weekend?
Yeah, of course. But one thing we have seen retailers do in planning for this, holiday shopping season during a pandemic is you've seen Black Friday sales already being advertised. They're expanding the dates in which they're offering these Black Friday deals. So they're not going to have, they're not going to have this rush to the store, Black Friday morning with everyone in line and no social distancing, and it's kind of chaos. So you're going to see they're expanding those sales and allowing access to those sales for a much longer period. And so do be mindful of that. You don't necessarily have to be at the store first thing on Friday morning to have access to these deals. We are, in general for the retail industry, we are asking people to shop early. Don't wait until the last minute so we don't have the mass gatherings of folks or the mass panic because you can't maybe get in or can't get the product, because of course we have seen some delays with receiving product, especially with international shipping due to worldwide pandemic. And so we are asking folks to shop early. And in fact, our National Retail Federation recently conducted a survey in November, so in this month, and we had identified that almost 60% of people had already started shopping. Now, of those 60% had already started, 74% still said they had shopping to do. So we're not done. There are definitely plenty of shopping left to do, but folks are heeding that warning and they are starting to shop early. And so, yeah, so with the curbside and the delivery options and then the expanding of the availability of sale dates and sale items, I think you're going to see a smoother shopping experience during the holiday season in respect to dealing with the pandemic.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yes, definitely having in a previous life, having been in retail and been through a number of Black Friday shopping experiences, definitely patience and understanding, but certainly to take advantage of those tools that are available to kind of get a head start. One thing I did want to mention, and Rebecca, thank you so much for bringing that up in regards to speaking on safety, was too that we have a number of chamber investors who offer services both to help sanitize and clean, as well as offer PPE products as well. So certainly take advantage of those, and you can find those on our website as well. Want to shift gears and bring Rance in. And Rance, let's talk a little bit about the Downtown Merchants Association. Can you give us an update on what the Downtown Merchants Association is and what you're hearing on the ground from this group?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. So the Merchant Association is a group of business owners kind of centralized in the Central Business District of downtown Greenville. We get together once a month. We kind of have three goals that we try to achieve, which are to increase and facilitate communication kind of without our region of the Central Business District, promote business growth, and then be a resource for safety and business solutions. So that third goal has been top of mind for everybody pretty heavily here these last 6 to 8 months. So kind of sharing ideas, kind of going back and forth to, hey, this is working, this isn't working, here's what I'm seeing. Just being able to kind of talk to your neighbors and kind of understand things that are going on. So it's been a great group. It's been around for quite some time. And there are multiple groups like these around Greenville. Actually, if you go to the City of Greenville website, click on the business link and then the Business Association tab, you can see where several others are. And highly recommend, if you're in an area maybe that doesn't have one, a part of the county, just start one up. It's not that hard. Just try to talk to your neighbors, start with 4, 5, 6, 8 of y'all and let it grow and expand from there. But I think we've done a really good job, especially through this kind of pandemic of working closely with the city and kind of seeing what they're doing, and then them asking for feedback from the merchants downtown to see what they can do to kind of further assist and go through everybody kind of go through this together. Some kind of sobering statistics, unfortunately, for Greenville. Passenger travel through GSP is down about 40 to sometimes 60% per month. So these downtown merchants kind of need you to come downtown or go to the other areas of the county and go shop, because we're just not quite getting the business and tourist travel that we have in previous years. And hotel occupancy is down as well, around 40%. So these folks really need for you to get out and utilize the avenues that Rebecca mentioned of doing the online shopping, being able to pick up curbside. I've seen some businesses even offer FaceTime shopping, where you can call and they'll walk around the store and kind of show you everything they've got going on. So, and that, I mean, it's everything from retail to, I know some local breweries even will allow you to do some curbside pickups. So reach out to these folks and try to help them as much as possible, because they're doing a good job. And as we mentioned earlier, they just want to support our community as well.
Thank you, Rance. Certainly a wonderful opportunity to show our support for our businesses within the area. Rance, let's take a moment to relay some things that you've heard, or the Downtown Merchants Association is encouraging, and others within the business community as they prepare for the Small Business Saturday. Kind of what are some initiatives that you've heard that are happening within the community that we can help support small businesses?
Yeah, so I think just the individual businesses, a lot of what Rebecca mentioned, if you are wanting to shop, utilize some of those online resources, the online shopping, or call and just speak to the business owner. And I promise they'll probably try to be as flexible as they possibly can to work with you and be able to help you with your purchases. Some things Emelie mentioned earlier, just with parking, the city's really doing a great job of helping with the short-term spots. The first hour is free in every garage downtown, and it's $2 an hour after that. So utilize those services. The free weekend and evening parking in a lot of those garages too. And then the events coming back around the downtown area, the Ice on Main, the Saturday TD Market. So So beyond just shopping or maybe coming down to enjoy a meal, there'll also be some events and of course the holiday lights and the decorations as well. So a lot going on, and glad to see it's kind of starting to feel a little bit back to normal, similar to years past. So a lot of different things happening around downtown and throughout the county as well.
Thanks, Rance. I want to take a moment for those that are attending today to please utilize the chat feature for any questions that you may have of Rance, Rebecca, and Emelie in regards to our community, what there's questions about retail association, the Downtown Merchants Association, economic development here at the city as well. And those questions, we certainly want to take an opportunity to ask our panelists in regards to that and what's happening. If I may, Rebecca, I want to circle back around to you real quick and just kind of some things from the South Carolina Retail Association in regard to recommendations for ways to support small businesses this weekend and through the holiday season and going forward. You have a few tips?
Yeah, for our businesses, some tips to try to make this a pleasurable experience for our customers and to try to encourage folks, of course, to continue shopping. One good way or things we're seeing retailers do is expanding their hours, which some folks generally do around the holidays anyway. But because we are some limiting occupancy or having to deal with curbside and online, maybe this is all new to some of us, and we're trying to figure all that out with limited resources. Expanding those hours can give your customers, of course, more access to you. And then, of course, we've been talking about over and over, curbside delivery, online ordering. That's really going to be a key for a lot of retailers, especially for those customers who don't feel comfortable coming out quite yet. For our retailers, make sure you do have PPE. Again, we're trying to make this a very comfortable experience for our customers and make them feel like it's okay to come back out and shop again. So make sure you have your PPE. In addition to expanding hours, you may want to offer appointments if you know the type of product you're selling is more hands-on and you spend some more time with your customers. Maybe offer appointments. And then if the weather's nice and you're able to or have the ability to, maybe have some of your merchandise outside if you're able to get some out. So again, allowing folks to be able to peruse and to shop without having to be inside. And I can't share enough. I know we've already said this for our customers, but just pack your patience. Everyone is trying to do the best they can through all of this. We really do want to try to get things back to as normal as possible, continue to be able to provide the products that everybody wants, but we have to, of course, do so safely. So everybody just pack their patience and know that we're all in this together.
Great points. Rance, I'm going to turn back to you real quick. And you know, we're fired up and ready to go shopping shop small and shop local. Can you point us towards any specific corridors in the county to find some great small businesses this weekend and the holiday season?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Yeah, I think we talked a good bit already today about Main Street, downtown Greenville, of course. But some other areas, Travelers Rest has numerous locally owned businesses, highly recommend. Pendleton Street, kind of on the west side of downtown as well. Downtown Greer, Trade Street, they've done a tremendous job of revitalizing that street and the shopping area there. Augusta Road area has a lot of locally owned businesses as well. Main Street in Simpsonville, and then of course our major shopping corridors at Haywood and Woodruff Road. A lot of locally owned businesses along those corridors as well. So please visit all those, as many as you can. And if you're a little bit lost about what to do, a couple online ways to kind of get your game plan together. You know, check Greenville News, the business, entertainment, and downtown sections kind of give you a good roadmap. The GVL Today emails that come out at 6 a.m. They do a great job. I think they're going to have a good Black Friday special as well on Friday. If you need some activities kidding around Greenville, if you have families, has a great list of things. And then visit Greenville SC, really has a great website promoting all of our local businesses kind of throughout the county. So some great resources out there just to click away to help you get your game plan so you can be as efficient as possible when you hit all these local shops.
Certainly, thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to take advantage. I know in my household, we certainly want to take advantage of those early birds and what tools are available to map out our day and how we're shopping as we, we'll do some online through our local businesses for sure and take advantage of what they have to offer. Many of them utilizing their Facebook as well as Instagram and their websites. Of course, many of our chamber investors will utilize their investor portal to relay their promotions that they have going on and share investor news through our investor news landing page on our website. So we certainly encourage businesses to take advantage of that. Are there any other, Rebecca, Emelie, Rance, any other last minute things that have come to mind, kind of aha moment as you were talking? So I forgot to mention that you'd like to share as we get ready to close up and end our session today?
Yeah, I think two things I wanted to mention is really just how you're supporting local entrepreneurism when you are shopping local. A lot of these folks are, people who have started their own businesses and are trying to make it, and it's really great. And I think that entrepreneurism is something we absolutely want to support in our community, and they have the potential to grow, etc. And then another thing is just cardboard, and the amount of, sometimes with e-commerce, the amount of cardboard we're producing when we receive a lot of boxes in the mail does put a strain on our resources here in Greenville, and some of our folks that collect. And that is not just within the city, that is county as well, whether it's a private or all the different entities that collect. And so keep that in mind when you're going in. And if you could just break down your boxes. Our department really emphasizes that, just because it creates less touch contact for the collectors who are out there doing it. And so during this pandemic, it's been important for folks to break stuff down. That way they don't have to physically touch things. They can wheel the cart over and then it can be dumped in. So just something to keep in mind that is really helpful. We've seen about a 20 to 25% increase just since March in our recycling collection and the amount that we've had to process. So that's a dramatic increase, and it was already on the rise with the popularity of e-commerce. So just something extra to keep in mind.
Yeah. Thanks, Emelie. Great point. Really with the number of boxes being delivered at homes, to be mindful of our footprint on our environment, to recycle the best way that we can. So certainly appreciate that point. I want to take this opportunity to thank Rebecca and Emelie and Rance, also all those in attendance for today's session. The recording will be shared on our Greenville Chamber website and sent to attendees along with a survey. We appreciate your feedback. We take time at the end of every call to remind everyone, please do your part in helping to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Take advantage of what's been said today and keep that in mind as you're out and about shopping and spending time with family and friends. So let's do our part to care for our neighbors. Have a great Thanksgiving and a small business Saturday. Goodbye.